If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Forged in steel, fought on ice. 8 teams, 6 games. 4 regional champs, 2 national champs, 1 weekend. This is the Steel City Showdown.
Good job with the shot, and the Slough Jets have taken the lead on the power play. With 23 with the shot for a goal. No need for the save from Lawday, and Campbell finds himself in, and it is 3-1 to the Chelsea Chieftains.
Hello and welcome to Zero Pucks Given, the UK Ice Hockey Podcast. We're in partnership with the Hockey Art Co., hockey clothing for hockey people, worn by the best and hated by the rest. Listeners to Zero Pucks Given get a 10% discount off everything site-wide at hockeyartclothing.co.uk when you use the code ZP10. Make sure you check out their website and their socials to see the new Scrim range as well as the Classic City Series, band-themed jerseys, training gear and casual wear. We are also in partnership with Manscaped, the globally recognised male grooming brand with top-of-the-range products such as the lawnmower, the weed whacker, the beard hugger, and the dome shaver pro. These products are really good. I use them myself. They have ceramic blades, so no cuts or no nicks. They're waterproof, so you can use them in the shower. As well, they've got super fast charging and a long run time, making these the best wireless shavers on the market. You can get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the code 0pucks20. Just a couple of weeks left on that code till the end of April. And finally, we are part of the Sports Social Podcast Network, the largest sport podcast network in Europe, boasting over 500 podcasts from more than 20 different sports. Well, hello, welcome along. I'm Ben, this is Zero Pucks Given, and this is episode 170. We are all now recovering after the hella weekend that was the Steel City Showdown. Before we get started, I want to thank England Ice Hockey for having me there and giving me the access that I was able to have. And before there are any negative comments or perhaps any accusations of me drinking from the Kool-Aid, this weekend took some mental organising. Did it go 100% to plan? Absolutely not. I know some fans have got legitimate complaints. All I would ask that if you'd like to voice these, please do so constructively and with a little bit of empathy for the work that went into getting the weekend to run at all. That's all I would ask on that. Right, let's start with the 5 a.m. start on Saturday to get to Sheffield. I know, the commitment, right? The excitement was building in the air from very early on. I was in the rink from just after 8 a.m. and the players for the first game were beginning to arrive. I've got to say, it's the first time I've seen any NIHL 2 North. Love the Sutton Stings jerseys. They're very classy. Great turnout by the Telford fans as well. The Sting fans, not too bad, bearing in mind they're the 4th team in Sheffield after the Steelers, the Steel Dogs, the Skims, and of course sharing their home with the Sheffield Titans in the same league as well. So with everyone in place, let's get cracking on the Steel City Showdown with the NIHL 2 North Laidler playoff final between the League and Cup champions Telford Tigers 2 and the runners-up Sutton Sting. The Tigers got the start they wanted for the final, controlling the puck from the face-off, and the first goal of the weekend came from a shot on the point from Daniel Harrison, assisted by Ollie Hunt, flying in off the post. Following a shift in the momentum from a power play, Ryan Apsley scored the equaliser for the Sting, assisted by Callum Russell. Less than 20 seconds later, though, the Tigers answered back to put themselves back in the lead through Vladimir Lukas, assisted again by Ollie Hunt. The Sting looked to get the equaliser in the final minutes of the period, but the Tigers held on to their 1-goal lead going into the middle frame. The Tigers start the second period on the right foot as Taylor Stanton extended their lead early in the second, assisted by Ben Washburn. Stanton then got his second of the game in quick succession as he managed to add another goal to the Tigers' lead, assisted by Daniel Harrison. The Sting looked to reduce the deficit as the game appeared to be running away from them, but Matthew Byrne was making some crucial saves to keep the gap at 3. The Sting were awarded a power play as the period came to a close, however, they were unable to capitalise. In the third, the Sting came out strong in that final session of the game, with their second goal coming from Charlie Saunders, assisted by Ryan Apsley to reduce the Tigers' lead to 2. The momentum, though, was short-lived as Vladimir Lukas regained the Tigers' 3-goal lead, keeping their treble hopes alive. As Liam Bartholomew sat for 2 minutes for kneeing, Adam Brooks-Smith slotted the puck past Byrne on the power play to make the score 5-3. Vladimir Lukas then scored a hat-trick goal with just over 2 minutes left of the period to reinstate the Tigers' lead to 6-3. As the final minutes ticked down on the clock, the Sting gave it their all. However, it was the Tigers who took home the North 2 playoff title, giving them a treble in the Laidler division with the League Cup and playoffs, and now a national playoff game on the Sunday against either Peterborough Phantoms 2 or the Guildford Phoenix. The NIHL 2 South Wilkinson Division had quite a strange finish after the Phantoms completed their league games early, giving the Phoenix the ultimate chase to take the title, which they did. These two also contested the Cup, which was very tightly went the way of the Phantoms, who also took the inaugural Eddie Joseph Memorial Trophy. Before the game got underway, I was able to catch up with Guildford Phoenix head coach Stuart Potts and Phantoms player coach Nathan Pollard.
0 Pucks given at the Steel City Showdown pre-game from the NIHL 2 South playoff final. Guildford Phoenix versus Peterborough Phantoms. Going to be a bit of a tight game between you two. It's been touch and go all season. How do you see it playing out?
Pretty much how the season's gone. Obviously, if you look at our results together, we've split every game. In the cup final, they just had the better goal aggregate, but obviously we went into there, they win in ours, and we both got the fixtures. And I see the game going exactly the same today.
You've managed to almost rejuvenate this side from last year, but also won the league, came close in the playoffs, but the spirit of Basingstoke kind of flummoxed everybody last year in the semi-finals. So would you see, with the two of you going here, your young players against their more experienced players, how do you see that playing out?
I guess with that, only time will tell. Obviously, we've had a couple of big injuries to our big players this year, which is going to give the younger players the opportunities tonight. And throughout the second half of the season, they've shown they can do it, and hopefully today it's going to be no different.
Do you think obviously last year we had the Southern Finals with the 4 games in one day, and onto the second day where it was the 2 finals. Do you think this being all finals is going to ramp that anticipation up?
I do 100%. And if you look at all the teams in the 2 division, I think the top teams have made it to the finals weekend. And with just having a one-legged semi-final as in last year, those slip-ups sort of don't happen this year, and you've seen the top teams have made it.
Yeah, I think every single final is champions against runners-up.
Brilliant, and that's what you want.
So it does put in for what should be 4 very good games. The potential of 4 games in one day is quite tricky, when potentially they could all go the distance as well. Is that something that has entered your guys' heads?
Well, it's not unfortunate for us, but for the guys who face off last, Southern won, they could have a very late fixture tonight, then have a final tomorrow, which it is what it is, so we'll see what happens.
Just finishing actually outside is the first period of Saturn against Telford. Is your mind even on tomorrow, or is it just one game at a time for this weekend?
Well, obviously you don't see these teams, and Nathan Pollard, he'll be watching them as well, just in case. And I've had a look just in case, and you never know. So you always got to keep your mind ahead. But today is obviously it's number 1.
We've noticed over this year, particularly the level of the NIHL 2 has actually stepped up massively from last year. The games are really competitive. There's the odd blowout game, but it's happening less and less. Do you think that where these young players are now really improving, that the level is becoming
Yes, and I think that naturally occurs in any sport over time. If you have to play these young guys, they are going to improve. And I just want to mention the Cardiff Canucks. as you see, they were a very young team put together, and over the season they progressed and they made the semi-finals, and I think that's a fantastic achievement for them, and that just shows when you give these young guys the opportunity, they can improve over the year and do well.
Excellent stuff. Well, you guys have shared the trophies over so far this year. You took the lead, Peter took the cup, and Eddie Joseph Memorial. So this one could well go down to the wire. I wish you all the best for it, Stuart.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pre-game of the NIHL 2 playoff final here at the Steel City Showdown with Paynter Phantoms player coach Nathan Pollard. Between the two of you guys, yourselves and Guildford, it's been you two head-to-head across the whole season. The games between you have been really tight. I asked of Stuart the same I asked of you. What's going to be the difference between your more experienced players and their more younger roster blending together tonight?
I think we've both got a good mix of both of experience and young players. We've got some really good young guys as well, but I think the difference from their side is they do have a lot of players that have played a lot of finals. They've got a lot of players that have won leagues, and obviously we fell a little bit short. But for us, we've got a lot of guys that have played at maybe a higher level than this, and have played a commentary and NHL 1 for a long time, and international for a long time. So sometimes that maybe gives you a bit of an edge, but it's such a coin toss, and I'm confident in my team. I always am, and we've been really good against Guildford this year. But they're such a good side. Obviously, has them so well drilled, and they've got some great players, so every team needs to be on their A game, and it could go either way.
With the way that the league finished, because the way the fixtures piled up meant that the ultimate chase was set. If you finished your league fixtures, Guildford then had enough to get above you by 1 point, which they did in the end. I mean, did that really affect the way that you were playing towards the end of the season, knowing you were going to be done?
It didn't affect it, but it's very strange, and Guildford's obviously had the chase, and they know what they're going to do, and maybe say we were both still playing back to back and we're playing at the same weekends, it might put a little bit more pressure on them, I don't know, but it was very strange for us, and fortunately we had the cup final chucked in and the Eddie Joseph cup final, or actually our season finished on the 1st of Feb and we wouldn't have had a game till the playoffs, which would have been a nightmare. So it's very strange. I think we built up a lot of momentum and stuff, and I think that helped us in the cup final, but actually league-wise, I think say our schedules in Guildford were maybe a little bit more aligned, it could have played out a little bit different. I'm not saying it would have done, but I think Guildford knew what they needed to do, and that was that.
Yeah, I suppose in most sports actually the chase is always a little bit easier, I suppose, than being the one that's front running.
Yeah.
Shall we say a week after the Grand National, I thought they were going to fall on the Sunday again. Actually, this unfortunately they haven't. So moving into this idea of having these 4 games on one day, said to Stuart, there's the real potential, especially for your game, to go all the way, sort of pushing the schedule back across the day. Obviously, we're coming here hoping to play 2 games in 2 days, which could then be potentially 2 full games with overtime and shootouts. How has the preparation gone for it?
So I think we're as prepared as we can be. We played Guildford twice in the league, twice in the cup, so we know what they're about. They're a great side, and we've obviously put in a lot of prep to deal with that. But I hope the games don't go all the way. I'd like to win in 60, and that'd be that. But it could go either way. And in terms of the setup, I love it. I mean, it's so exciting that we've both got the chance to play against Telford or Sutton and be the national champion. And it looks quite busy out there at the moment, and I think it's only going to get busier. So it's really good for us, and obviously it's a great atmosphere. Yeah,
hopefully so. If the crowd sort of lasting all day, it's been building quite slowly from the doors opening. But when you guys come on, in a couple of hours, we could be looking at a full rowdy barn for possibly one of the most competitive games of the day.
Yeah, I'd like to hope so. I think in the league, both games went to overtime and went the distance, and in the cup we grabbed a couple of late goals at the end of the final to make it quite a big lead. But actually, then the game at home was a 1-goal game, so the anomaly was that one away game. Every game has gone the distance, and you're right. I don't want to say it, but today's probably going to be exactly the same thing.
Yeah, well, there's 2 teams that both have great seasons. We've just seen between you and Potsy, there's the mutual respect between the 2 coaches as well. So looks to be a great game. Nathan, wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you very much.
After an even start, the Phantoms found the back of the net first as Jack Sansby fired the puck over Stoodley's shoulder to give them the lead after just after the 10-minute mark. And it was a back and forth period until the final minutes when Sean Reynolds passed the puck to Liam Kennington, who found the back of the net for the equaliser for the Phoenix on 16:25. Into the second, and the game remained close as both teams looked for the go-ahead goal, but the Phantoms applied the pressure on a 5-on-3 power play, unable to break through. It was the Phoenix, though, that got themselves on the board next, when Sol Stoodley scored a breakaway goal as they came off that penalty kill. He then quickly got his second goal of the afternoon to extend their lead to 3-1. However, seconds later, AJ Herring answered back as he tapped a loose puck past Jake Stoodley to bring them within 1. Sansby got his second goal of the game to make it even at 3-3 going into the final session. It was a goalless period in the third as both goalies made crucial saves to keep their teams in the game, but neither side was able to break through, and overtime beckoned. It was an end-to-end start to overtime as both teams looked for opportunities to end the game, both sides playing it relatively attackingly rather than going for the patient attack, waiting for two-on-ones. There was a chance where Guildford did break, though, and Teo Sire had a chance to win it for the Phoenix, but he was hauled down and awarded a penalty shot, and then Luke Clark came out on top to keep the game going. Despite the Phoenix applying pressure at the end of overtime, they were unable to find the back of the net as the final buzzer sounded. And after 5 rounds of penalty shots, just 2 goals scored in that from Gaylor and from Nathan Pollard, 1 apiece going to a sudden death shootout. In the 10th round, Teo Sire did miss again, and Taylor Romeo stepped up and scored for Peterborough to win their first trophy of the weekend, the 3rd trophy of the season, and booked themselves a place in Sunday's National 2 final against the Telford Tigers 2. On to the 3rd game of the day. By this point, we were running almost an hour behind due to the pre-game presentations and, of course, the post-game celebrations. But this rivalry has been ticking over all year, thus far all in favour of the Billingham Stars, as they have taken the league and the cup from the Blackburn Hawks, giving the Stars the chance at an historic Grand Slam, as the two rivals faced off on a sunny afternoon in Sheffield. The Billingham Stars scored in the opening minutes to give themselves a 1-goal lead, Michael Elder passing the puck across the front of the crease to Ian Brown, who put it over the pad of Ben Keddy. The Hawks got the equaliser a few minutes later. Hammond made the initial save, but Andy McKinney managed to slot the puck past him on the rebound. Proper playoff goal. However, the Stars answered back very quickly with a goal through Conor McNulty, assisted by Ben Greenhaw, to regain their 1-goal lead. The Stars further extend their lead through James Moss when he found a gap in the top left-hand corner, assisted by Roland Grithands. As the Hawks come off the power play, Adam Barnes scores the goal of the weekend as he goes coast to coast and finds the top right corner backhanded on an unassisted goal to make it 3-2 Stars heading into the second. The Stars started the second period with a power play, which then turned into a 5-on-3. Despite killing the initial penalty, Blackburn, they couldn't get the momentum going, and the Stars scored again through James Helens after one player had returned to the ice. The Stars then quickly built on their lead again as Roland Grithands found the back of the net for his second point of the night. The Hawks thought they'd reduced the deficit towards the end of the period, however it was called off as the net was off its pegs. Did happen quite a lot throughout the weekend, that. Into the third period, and the Hawks continued to push hard, attempting to peg their northeastern counterparts back, but Callum Wilkinson scored on a 5-on-3 power play to make it 6-2 to the Billingham Stars. Barnes scored a short-handed goal just after through the 5-hole of Keddle to reduce the deficit to 3 again. However, it was too little, too late for the Hawks as the Stars took the final trophy of the Moralee Division home, giving them a treble for the season and booking their place in the national final on Sunday with a 6-3 victory. The final game of the day in the Britton Division as the league champions Slough Jets face off against their runner-up rivals from this season, the Streatham Redhawks. As the players started to arrive, I caught up with Redhawks captain Ryan Watts.
0 pucks given at the Steel City Showdown with NIHL 1 South finalist and captain of the Streatham Redhawks, Ryan Watt. What are you doing today, mate? You right?
Yeah, good, mate. Excited.
All excited for it,
excited, yeah.
It's been a sort of season for Streatham where actually this has come down to being your only chance on the trophy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, all the focus has just gone into this since the league was done.
Well, yeah, first time in 5 years I've won a trophy. Lost out in the cup semi-final and overtime after a big slip-up at home.
Let's just say about that.
Yeah. Lost out in the league by 1 point. So it's all to play for this weekend, plus to get first.
Yeah. After last year, you sort of had quite a lot of an injury layoff, and then coming into this year, you look like a completely new player. What did they put in that hip?
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, hip surgery in October last year. Came back in the middle of Jan. Probably came back too soon. Paynter was trying to ease me back into it, but I wanted to play. So yeah, the end of last year was a little bit of a struggle. Wasn't really fully fit, and then with the summer off and coming into September this year, it felt good.
Yeah. What's been noticeable actually with players of your level of experience as well? Penalty minutes have dropped.
Yeah.
Are you all calming down?
Touch wood.
Yeah.
First year since 2007-2008, I haven't had a suspension.
Wow.
Yeah. I got kicked out of the game in Cardiff this year. Third man in, which ended up being nothing. Didn't fight or anything. Which was 25 in my pins. I think I had 55 pins. So 30 penalty minutes on the year. So I'm actually under 12, I don't think. Yeah.
Well, from what we saw in the semi-final against Chelmsford, there was no slip up this time. 7-1 from the first leg, 3-1 in the second leg. The way you guys played on that first leg in Chelmsford was unbelievable. Everything was so precise and rehearsed. Has Paynter been working on specific things in training, putting people you're coming up against, like Chelmsford, then on Sal? Is there differences?
It's not so much in Chelmsford and Sal, they're both top-end teams. We've been trying to find the right groove and just keep working on the little things at practice and getting rid of those little things and taking that into the weekend. Obviously in Chelmsford, all weekend, Milton did 2 goals all weekend, still in his head. He's been awesome again this year. He's obviously come up and into as well. He missed the first half of the year to the groin.
To make the All-Star team.
That's
half the season.
Obviously, the players know that he's the goalie to be. He's a great goalie. And then since Christmas, Dingwall's just absolutely caught fire. He's not missing. So things seem to be clicking in the right way for us right now.
Well, that seems to be the way it's worked actually. It comes towards the end of the season, Dingwall, Ziggy, yourself, all coming into form at the right time. Could be the wrong time for Sal. You've got 3-1 over him in the series so far this year. Do you anticipate anything today?
3-1 in the series. Got them, I think, twice in pre-season. So looking at the overall record this year, 5-1, pretty confident going into the weekend. But it's a one-game weekend against the league leaders. You just named our guys that are hot right now. They've got Seb's hot, Christian's hot, Good Child, you hot. They've got guys that can do damage as well. So it'll be a good game.
It will be a good game.
Thanks, mate. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've seen Brandon Tanner, the guy that opened his eyes to the fire.
With Streatham staring down the barrel of their first trophyless season in 5 years, the South London side appeared relaxed, hungry and focused, while the title-winning Jets took to arriving a little bit later, particularly later than they did for last season's playoff semi-finals, as they didn't want to be sitting around and waiting to play when the day had become now more than an hour behind, meaning face-off that was due at 7:45 was coming a little after 9 p.m. Before the game, though, I caught up with Red Hawks player coach Ben Paynter and Slough Jets head coach Lukas Smital.
0 pucks given pre-game at the NIHL 1 playoff final just before we get off. I'm with Ben Paynter, Streatham Red Hawks coach. You need to hold your mic up to your mouth, though. I've got mine here.
No problem.
Mate, it's been a bit of a season, but you've got the chance at a bit of silverware now. You're not going to let it go, are you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're disappointed with how our season's gone so far this year. We spoke about how our performances over the year haven't been what they need to be at the right times. There's no better time for us to actually turn up and sort of put a trophy on the line when we could win it rather than waiting for another team to win it. I think it's the biggest thing for us right now.
Well, it seems like since it kind of went out of your hands after that loss to Invicta, that you have completely reset and everyone is now playing with the playoffs in mind. From what I've seen of you guys since the league has been over, everything has been precise, it's been fast, it's been extremely well rehearsed. Have you been sort of setting up real systems just to go into playoff hockey?
Kind of. I mean, we play the way we play. We're not going to change that too much. Like, our game is our game, and we're comfortable with our game. We're not changing too much. But I think the biggest difference for us is we've seen what happens now when we don't play our game. The cup semi was obviously massively disappointing and going to a second leg with not the right mindset. And then obviously the league upset that we had down in Invicta. Like, we've seen what happens when we're not on it, and I think that's just really made people realise that it's time to go. Like, in the past, we can turn up, be half-assed, not be at our best and still scrape a win. Whereas, like, the league's better now, and we can't do that. So it's been a real wake-up call for us, and I think the boys have realised we have to show up to compete, and we have to show up to get wins. So.
Well, pretty much every team in the league has had their superlatives about this Slough side, who have been terrific all season. They've taken the league title. Do you think that mentality-wise, playing into this kind of final thing, you guys have got the upper hand and experience?
I don't know. They're obviously confident off the back of their league win. They're a young team. Like I say, they're a confident team. Are they a bit of a cocky team? Maybe, but maybe they have the right to be it right now. The league champions for a reason. We've been here a lot. We're obviously a slower team, but we have got that experience. So I'd like to think that we're going to put ourselves in a good position to get it done based on that experience. But ultimately, it's 60 minutes of hockey. We've got to perform, and they're a good team. It's not going to be an easy game. It should be a really good game of hockey, and I think it's good that it's 1-2 at the top in the playoff final.
Yeah, it's happened actually right across the board in every division. It's league champions and league runners-up. Do you think that the 4 league games will play into this at all? Because, I mean, for people that haven't really seen much playoff hockey, it's a completely different style. Do you think that the 4 league games before, where you had a 3-1 win in the series, will actually make any difference?
I'm not sure. Like I say, I think the league campaign was we've always had a bit of a mental edge over Slough. I think that's been shown, and I think getting that league championship will really help them. I think for them to win that might put that mental thing out the window. So who knows? And like we say, it's one game of hockey. It's literally who turns up. If both teams turn up, it should be a really good game of hockey. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
And by this point, we might well be facing off at about 10 p.m. at night. So we'll see how it all goes. Paynter, thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
0 pucks given pre-game of the NIHL 1 playoff final with Slough Jets championship winning head coach Lukas Smital. Smits, your boys have done an incredible year for you, and it's now coming down to this couple of weeks of showcase finals. How's the preparation gone?
Nothing unusual, to be fair. It's just another weekend of hockey, but obviously there's more pressure at the moment, a bigger stage for the young lads. But I think we're in the right mind, and we're here to enjoy and obviously play our best and see what tonight and next week brings.
Absolutely. Do you think that the time-wise for Slough, that you've done all of this a season too early, or is this fit with your schedule perfectly?
I never looked at it that way. See, there's a lot of clubs or teams who's doing like them 5-year plans and stuff. I don't work like that. It's you work, and then whatever happens. If it's kind of unsuccess, you have to turn the screw, pick it up. If it goes well, then you have to do the same thing to make it better. But there was never timeline. It happened. It was great, but again, there's no pressure in terms of in so many years I have to achieve this and that. It was never really our objective.
No. Well, with your additions to your young roster that's been with you for a few years now coming through, additions like Brandon Miles, Alex Cole, Neil Lydiard, have they just created that bit of solidity that the squad actually needed? Doing the dirty things.
I suppose it wasn't planned. See, this is the thing. It just kind of came, especially Lizzie, because he left Bristol and then went to Oxford. And they spoke to me. Obviously, we played together a long time ago in Guildford, so we kind of spoke. And I said, all right, didn't really think much of it. But it turned out that he's really good for us, especially in terms he's paired up with one of our young lads and. He's getting better every game because I believe because of Lizzie and Brando and Benny. Again, it was kind of just a little talk. It wasn't really anything specific, and it turned out to be good decision, I suppose, for the club and for the boys, as they seem to enjoy it. And but again, it wasn't. Me chasing them or going in above all cost, just to get them. No, it was just option was there, and then I said, see if we can make it work, and we did. So I'm happy with that.
The way that you set up the Slough Jets since you've been there, the ethos of the club, if you will, things that I've noticed, just little things like the juniors stay on the ice to clear up the pucks after warm up. Do you think that every player I speak to about you, it almost sounds like a cult, the way that you've got everybody kind of working there? And now it's obviously building some success. Division 1 title, now looking at playoffs and, of course, the national game next year. For you personally, it must be a great feeling.
It is. Everything the way I work, it's all principles, moral principles. That's it goes from juniors all the way to the seniors. right fits, the right mindset, the right attitude. Not so much skills and abilities, but a right fit. That's what we are all about. And you mentioned in those pucks. You mentioned to them, I said, listen, I had to do it when I was 16, so I don't see why you shouldn't. But you only say that once. It's kind of almost unwritten rule. We got maybe a little bit of privilege that all the kids we have in the club, or the ones who's our prospects, they're extremely humble, which is very important for their growth. They don't think above themselves. So all these little things is much easier, to kind of embed and kind of, I call it hardwire in their brains. To have that right approach, do it everything right way, because it always helps you to get as far as you can.
Absolutely. Well, all the best for the playoff final this afternoon, and then of course if you get through, let's say this afternoon, it could be late night.
Late night, yeah.
And then of course if you get through that, a massive day tomorrow as well. So thanks very much for your time.
Thank you. Cheers.
The game started with a few penalties. However, it was the Slough Jets who found themselves on the board first with an unassisted goal from captain Connor Redmond. While both sets of teams had good chances, it remained a one-goal game coming to the end of the first session. Into the second, and the Jets started the period on the power play, and it didn't take them long to capitalise through Ollie Hemmings-Mohr. The initial shot came from Jacob Minter at the blue line and was tipped into the back of the net by Ollie. The Red Hawks dominated the power play session that they got next. However, it was the Jets who scored again, as Ollie Hemmings-Mohr managed to separate from the play, break away and find the back of the net past Milton. Slough have truly been as dangerous short-handed as they have been on the power play this season. Ollie Hemmings-Mohr's second goal making it 3-0. Danny Milton then made his way to the bench and was replaced by Brett Shepherd. Shortly after, Milts made his way back to the dressing room, so hopefully a swift recovery for Danny, who made the All-Star team despite missing a good chunk of the season with injury. Tensions bubbled over midway through the game as Brandon Miles and Ryan Watt decided to drop the gloves, which perhaps people may have expected better from these two guys considering their reputations, but the old friends fought for well over a minute, not a massive amount of punches thrown, Miles probably edging it, but all good fun in the end. In the final minute of the period, Seb Mohr went bar down on the power play, giving the Jets a 4-goal lead heading into the final session. Into the third, and Christian Mohr scored a terrific goal halfway through the final period to make the score 5-0, and Jacob Minter sealed the win for the Jets with their 6th goal on another power play, as hit shot from the top of the right circle went through traffic and evaded Brett Shepherd to make it 6-0. As the final buzzer sounded, Matt Smital with a playoff final shutout to win the Britton Division playoff final and make it a double so far this season for the Jets. I was lucky enough to be on the ice with the boys in the celebrations, and the guys were buzzing having booked themselves a national playoff final slot against the Billingham Stars, a precursor to the National One League title game next week at Coventry. But for now, it's past midnight. The live stream unfortunately cut due to the live slot running out. A touching on-ice tribute from the Jets to Tyler Hatfield. As always, love and thoughts with Harry and Michaela. As the fans exit, the players head to their hotel rooms for what little amount of recovery time they may have before we all head back to Ice Sheffield for the final day of the Steel City Showdown. Sunday morning, the sun shining on the green Yorkshire hills, and the fans made their way back to Ice Sheffield for this historic pair of games, as we'll have the first ever national playoff champions for NIHL 1 and 2. The Telford Tigers and Peterborough Phantoms second sides will take up a competitive game for the first time, mirroring what the National League sides do season in, season out. But this is made for an occasion that you just don't know what to expect out of a team from a different league. But what a start it was for the Phantoms. They took the lead within 22 seconds when the Pollards, both Nathan and Connor, assisted James White to make it 1-0. Exactly 3 minutes later, the Phantoms doubled their lead when the Pollards were in action again, as Nathan assisted Connor to make it 2-0 on 3:22. A couple of penalties, but one each, so staying 5-on-5 after they had expired. Owen Herring assisted Leo Markey to finish smartly through the 5-hole and make it 3-0 to the Phantoms on 8:27. Peterborough then continued into dreamland when White poke-checked a Telford attack and set Nathan Pollard clear, who, call as you like, slotted home for 4-0 Phantoms on 12 flat. The Tigers then seemed to get themselves sorted with a few stern talking to, and pulled one back when Davis assisted Vladimir Lukas to make it 4-1 on 12:46. Nerves then started to kick in when Davis assisted Tyler Stanton, who stole in to make it 4-2 on 13:31. The Phantoms managed to hold on throughout the rest of the period, but by going 4-0 up seemed to have awoken the crouching Tigers. Into the second, and Telford continued the way they'd finished the first as they made it even more uncomfortable when a goalmouth scramble saw the puck cross the line with the net dislodged, and Vladimir Lukas get credited with his second goal of the game to make it 4-3 on 22:44. Credit to the Phantoms, though, as they looked to exercise the ghosts of the last 10 minutes and pushed further ahead when AJ Herring cut across the ozone and shot low past Burns to make it 5-3 on 24:05. The Phantoms then had to kill off a 5-on-3 when McDonald and Markey sat for charging and misconduct respectively, but it was a successful kill for the Peterborough side. Once back to full strength, Jack Sansbury took the puck over the blue line and fired an absolute rocket past Burn to make it 6-3 on 28:19. Telford struck back immediately when Vladimir Lukas netted his hat-trick in style to make it 6-4 on 28:43, before the third goal in 60 seconds of the tie went to Peterborough when Nathan and Connor Pollard dazzled the defence with a brilliantly executed play to assist James White to make it 7-4 Phantoms on 29:19. A slashing penalty for the Phantoms goaltender Clark is sat by Barlow, but the Phantoms kill it off again. The Tigers then killed off a Liam Bartholomew slashing penalty, and when returning to full strength, Vladimir Lukas grabbed his fourth goal of the game when he made it 7-5 on 36:05. However, less than 2 minutes later, James White grabbed his hat-trick as he made it 8-5 to the Phantoms on 37:52. And before the second was out, the drama continued after Brad Wright sat for slashing for Peterborough. Taylor Stanton stole in on the power play to make it 8-6 on 39:44. The crowd managed to catch their breath after a scintillating second period, and as we got underway in the third, both sides took penalties on 47:02 and had chances at both ends, but when Nick Martin sat for hooking on 54:14, Tyler Stanton grabbed his hat-trick goal to make it 8-7 on 54:42. Phantoms then almost pulled further ahead when Nathan Pollard nearly grabbed a hat-trick, only to be denied by the iron. They did, however, pull further ahead when Clark shifted the puck to Herring, whose shot was brilliantly redirected by Leo Markey to make it 9-7 Phantoms on 57:07. Seconds later, the Tigers were on the power play when Connor Pollard took a seat on 57:38, and despite Luke Clark's heroics in nets, Paul Davis managed to get the puck over the line and force an enthralling final few seconds. After some end-to-end play, Tigers pulled the goalie, and the Phantoms thought they'd taken the game with an empty net goal, but it was waved off for an interference call. However, the seconds dwindled, and the Phantoms became Tiger Kings as they hushed their northern counterparts to take home the Ken Taggart Memorial Bowl in the inaugural NIHL2 National Playoff Final. And after the game on the ice, I briefly caught up with Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Wilkinson Cup, Eddie Joseph Memorial Trophy, Wilkinson Playoff Champion and National 2 Playoff Champion, Nathan Pollard.
No, put that into words.
There's no words. I think, for me, 4-0 up, and you're cruising, and all the fans got a great game, but as a coach, maybe you could have a bit more defence and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we won, and it was in the balance till, 20 seconds left when we put it in, and that's what hockey's all about. That's finals, and I'm sure everyone got their money's worth.
Yeah, it certainly gave everyone that was here a treat for their eyes. I mean, that's a pretty unprecedented trophy haul for you this year. From what we hear, there's bigger things to come in the future for the Phantoms too as well.
Yeah, we'd like to hope so. Obviously, we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks and stuff like that, but we're a great side. We've got a great roster already, and we want to build on that. And yeah, 4 trophies, it's not too bad, right?
Excellent, mate. Thanks so much for your time. Well done.
Thanks.
Arriving at the rink on Sunday before all of the games got underway, I was absolutely delighted to catch up with departing Chieftains netminder Jordan Lawday, who has retired from UK ice hockey and is moving to Canada.
At the Steel City Showdown with former Chelmsford Chieftains, played at South Bison, Cardiff Devils, we can go on and on. Mr. Jordan Lawday, this could well have been the final weekend of your career. It didn't quite turn out that way for Chelmsford. But a cracking little tribute to you in the programme as well.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel coming towards the end of this week?
I mean, it's a different environment. Normally, if we were in the tournament, it would be, okay, focus, don't watch any of the other games, come for your game, play your game, go home. So it was like last night, play at midnight, and then go home. But it's, in a weird way, I wouldn't say it's nice not being here, because you want to be here, you want to win, you want to take home the trophy. But it's a nice way for me to be able to enjoy it and see everyone not be focus.
Something that makes sense.
Yeah.
You've had actually an opportunity to say goodbye to the sport and
say
fans.
thank you and everything like that. Like, it's nice. A lot of people have come up to me and I've been able to actually have a conversation and things like that, which I probably wouldn't be able to do if we were playing.
No, just that laser focus.
Yeah.
Obviously, close friends of yours were involved in the game last night as well. Obviously, long family friends with Watts.
Yep.
They gave you a cracking send off in Streatham last week as well.
Yeah,
that must have been a nice moment.
Yeah, that was really nice. I didn't expect it either. So it was more the fact that it was an away game and they still did it. And there was a lot of people that I played with, like Dow, Steady, like guys like that. And Harvey said I've known since I was like 11. And even Ryan I've known my whole life. So it was nice, really nice. Especially when it was my brother's last game as well. But he obviously doesn't say much, so he didn't tell anyone and no one knew apart from Ryan.
Yeah.
So it was nice for him to be able to go down the Guard of Honour as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fans were expecting some other people perhaps to walk it, and they didn't, which was quite a nice one.
Yeah.
So moving forward for you, the whole family moving over to Canada.
Yep.
Is the gloves hung up? Or is
as of now, yes. Yeah, they are as of now. We fly on Friday. So we fly next week.
Yesterday you sold the house and everything.
Yeah, house all complete, everything's done. So we fly next week, and it's just a case of then get there, unpack our 9 goalie bags that have all of our luggage in, most of them are baby toys, and then just get settled, find a car, find a job or another job, just finding our feet for a little while, and then we'll figure out, maybe I'll play right forward.
Yeah. I think you might have someone following you out there as well in Slough Jets back up Nate Gregory.
Yeah, it's perfect. So he also is my hairdresser. Yeah. So it's ideal for me. That's one of the things I was worried about. So he's moving out to Calgary as well. I think it's a couple of months after us. So it's nice. At least with him, I don't think he's going to play in goal either. So we both play on the same rec team as a forward. Yeah. It'd be nice. Something different.
Yeah. Be like in disguise, I suppose. Yeah. People never even know that you were goalies. For your time with Chelmsford, over 67 appearances in the end, it's the way that the fans have reacted to you. It's actually felt like a lot more than that. It's almost like you've been a lifer there, the way the fans have reacted with the send-off. Have you got a particular moment you can pick out from your time with Chelmsford?
The thing that stood out to me the most was when Oakley was born, and it was the way everyone reacted, because it was a tough with Oakley, and it was he was in intensive care for a week. I don't know if people know, but he was in there for a week before we could even come home, and Lucy had days before she could even see him. And then when we come back, it's just everyone was so welcoming, even the team, the guys, like everything, like they get gifts and all of that. And it was more that made me realise that it wasn't just a hockey team. It was more. It was a family. Like especially with fans, and like we had like things knitted and everything. Like it was lovely. Yeah. And that was the moment I was like, okay, like it's not just a team. Like it's more than any other team I've played on.
I think with that sort of in mind, we've had private conversations about things that couples go through, and everything. Obviously, Slough had the absolutely tragic news this year. And that support is massive, isn't it? From teammates and fans alike.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when we heard the news about Slough, like, it's awful. Bless him. I couldn't even imagine going through what he's gone through, and the fact that he's still playing, he's still able to go back to that dressing room and do it. I don't know if I'd be able to do it, so hats off to him. Honestly, it takes a hell of a character to be able to do that.
Yeah. It was people may not have seen, because the stream cut out late last night. It was a wonderful on ice tribute partook in after the game. But it's so your hockey career in this country has come to an end.
Yep.
Any regrets looking back?
I wouldn't say any regrets as such. I mean, you're never going to know if it's a regret if you do it. So,
and I can't think of many players around here who have got their face in an NHL game.
Well, yeah, and it was more so the fact that we took the baby to 4 games and it was 6 for him.
Yeah.
So, but he woke up to see Austin Matthews and Nylander, so it was alright.
You did get on one of the official pictures, I think, for the plane
we did.
as well.
And we got on the Jumbotron and everything as well with headphones on.
Excellent.
But no, I think we'll be season tickets by the time next season starts for sure.
Well, mate, as a Chelmsford fan, it's been a real pleasure to watch you for a couple of years, and I wish you all the best for the future.
No, thank you, I really appreciate it.
Nice one. Cheers, pal.
The main event of the weekend beckoned. The late night meant not much rest or sleep had by those from Slough. I heard rumours of the Billingham players not taking advantage of the extra rest time they had, but the buzz and anticipation was high all morning and afternoon as the players began to arrive craving sustenance. After he'd managed to get himself a bit of brunch, I caught up with Slough Jets young superstar forward Christian Mohr.
0 pucks given at the Steel City Showdown. Today we are looking forward to the national finals, and we're catching up with championship winning and playoff winning Slough Jets forward Christian Mohr. Chris, mate, what a day yesterday. You guys must have enjoyed every second of it.
No, it was a good game. No, it was just
from both teams, from the minute the puck dropped to, the minute the whistle blew. It was just up and down, and it just showed, best two teams going at it for 60 minutes.
But it ended up looking like it wasn't the best two teams, probably more one-sided than you guys would have liked and they were expecting. So how does that set you up for today?
It obviously gives us a confidence boost. I think the whole league did see from this season, we did struggle against Streatham. So it was a confidence boost for us.
Yeah.
Overturning that kind of Streatham flu, as everyone says.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be an exciting one today.
Well, you say we had that mentality issue throughout the season with the Streatham games. That must be all out the window now. That must have just blown the cobwebs right out.
Buried.
Yeah.
And locked the hatch, threw away the key.
So you're in actually the unusual situation that you've now got 2 games left of your season, and they're both against the same side, a side that you've never played before.
Yeah.
So you don't know what to expect. If anything, this is probably going to be the more highly competitive game, as next week some players may have started holidays and whatnot.
It's a tough one. Don't get me wrong, both games are going to be hard. This game might be a kind of like a tester to kind of see both teams how they play. But we're just going to go out there and do what we've done against Showdown.
Yeah, and just sort of see where you go with it, because you can only really test the water because you've got nothing to really go on with the team from the north. With your team as a whole, then obviously we spoke with Smits on the pre-match yesterday. This group of players, yourself, your brother Jack Goodchild, you, Hard, Jacob,
the whole team.
You've all you've all grown together as one, with the experience added in with the likes of Benny Lee Newman, Brando, Coley, Lids as well, of course.
Yeah.
How has that been for you?
They've all been massive, massive signings, and they've. I don't like using the word gel, but the chemistry just clicked straight away. They've looked like they've played on the same team like all of us for the last, 4 or 5 years. And, it's good to see all the boys that we've brought in, especially Brando and, Benny to an extent, that they can play hockey.
Benny to an extent.
Yeah.
He'll love that.
Yeah. But what I mean by that is obviously it's more Brando, because obviously we all know Moralee back in the day. And this season, by God, he's been, one of our top players.
Yeah. I said this has been actually a chance for people to see Brando as more than the enforcer and see how good he actually is as a hockey player. Yeah, which is terrific.
But yeah, as I said, it's, the whole team is just on fire right now.
And for you personally, a massive year. You've had a lot of time with Romford as well in the National League.
That's been good.
That's really helped you out.
Yeah. New team, obviously, a couple of 2-ways prior to Romford, but, Romford's been doing well this season. Obviously, no one knew if they were going to be a team this season, and for what Leish and Jonesy and all the directors have done in the summer, they've done a brilliant job.
Yeah, I mean, you've been part of 2 teams then that have had this emerging group of young players to come through. You've been a massive part of that.
100%.
And personal for you for this season, have you achieved everything you want or overachieved, do you think?
I don't really look at it like all I cared about. It's going to sound cliche. All I really cared about was lifting the trophies this year. Whether or not I had 50, 100 points, 10 points, as long as the whole team lifted the cup at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's all I really care about, really.
And 2 so far, 1 to go.
2 more to go.
Oh, 2 more to go, of course, the National League playoff next week.
Yeah.
Did miss out on the cup, though.
Yeah.
How did that one sort of feel? Because that was a bit of a strange 2-legger.
Unexpected. But it's been so long ago, I can't really remember what happened.
Well, that's one thing that everyone's noticed with you guys this season is the slips that you've had, which have been very minimal, the recovery is incredibly quick.
Yeah. Like, we got over that Solent game, and, it was spoken about after the game on Sunday, and, Smits was like, we've got 4 cups, let's focus on the league. And then after the league, we got playoffs. It's always been, we've never, at the start of the season, we never said, we're going to win the league. It's always, right, season starts, we've got training on Wednesday.
1 game, 1 session at a time.
Focus on Wednesday. What we got next? Right, we've got Saturday, Sunday. We'll focus on Saturday, Sunday. And we'll go back to training on Wednesday. And we'll take every day by day. And I think that's why it's been so, what's the word? You're going to have to help me out here.
Enjoyable?
Yeah, enjoyable, but, it's helped us out a lot. It's stress-free, really. If you're thinking about the league the whole season and you've only played 3 games, compared to, as I say, going to training on Wednesday, it's a lot stressful.
You're going to overthink and get in your own heads, aren't you?
Exactly.
Well, we're just finishing up the second period of the North Final, which sounds like we're missing a cracker of a game, actually.
No, it sounds... every game pretty much has been, as you said, down to the wire.
Yeah.
Bit of late starts, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, as a player, how are these weekends for you? Because I know they're an incredibly long day for everybody.
It's tough, but thankfully, I mean, we're a young team. All we do is sleep and then get up in the morning and walk around for a bit. But you can complain about it. You don't have to complain about it. We're here to play hockey. Yeah. So,
and it's a great showpiece and a great chance to lift the trophy in front of hopefully what's going to be a really big crowd this afternoon.
That's the next step, yeah.
Excellent. Well, Chris, thanks so much for your time, man. Good luck for the rest of the year.
Appreciate it.
Two more trophies to go.
Exactly.
As the game got underway, one thing was very clear from the outset. The two styles of these sides were going to blend perfectly, and this was going to be one hell of a game. Billingham started the stronger and seemed to have possession-based dominance that the Jets would have had to deal with not too many times in the Britton Division. They also matched the Jets' intensity on the forecheck, which made it an intriguing tie to behold. On 13:48, Jack Goodchild received 2+2 for high sticks, which I believe drew blood, and the Stars found themselves pushing that dominance on the power play. Despite their intricate passing, it was actually a long-distance snipe that made the difference when Brown and Elder assisted Chris Sykes as the Billingham stalwart found the top shelf over the Glover Nate Gregory for 1-0 Stars on 14:08 power play goal. On 16:26, a really unfortunate incident when young local netminder Jacob Hammond went down with what appeared to be a very serious injury and was replaced by Mark Turnbull. Turnbull was called into action virtually immediately after Ben Ely Newman broke free and was tripped on the play, resulting in a penalty shot for the Jets, which Ben got up to take himself, but he was foiled by Turnbull, which could have been a turning point for the Stars to start running clear. But when Juha Lindgren forced a turnover on the Stars' defensive blue line, he chased the puck deep into Gretzky's office, where he then tucked it back to the slot for Christian Mohr to slap a one-timer past Turnbull to make it 1-1 on 18:27. Also an incident that saw a Billingham player collide with the linesman and Jack Goodchild right on the boards in front of the Stars' bench. The official was able to continue after initially holding his knee. Fair play to him, it was a pretty solid fall. However, a shoulder injury for Jack Goodchild saw him depart down the tunnel, and his weekend, possibly season, looks to be over. Into the second period, and the Stars found themselves on the kill after Helens received 2 for slashing on 24:42. But even with the Jets' impressive power play line, they got caught as Elder released Chris Sykes, who bared down on goal and nabbed his second of the game, making it 2-1 Stars on 25:47, short-handed goal. The Stars then killed off a Galloway interference penalty before a cracking breakaway goal saw Conor McNulty score a true captain's goal as he turned the puck over on his defensive blue line, made his way into the O-zone and slapped the puck near side top shelf from just above the right circle, scoring the goal of the game so far, making it 3-1 Stars on 34:01. Billingham were on the kill again after Greenhorse sat for holding, but the Jets were unable to break through. Into the final 60 seconds of the second, where English assisted Juha Lindgren to make it 3-2 on 39:16. Game on. Into the third, and the Stars again found themselves on the kill when Brown sat for tripping on 43:05, and the Jets' power play unit got to work. A shot from Seb Mohr was brilliantly redirected by Ollie Hemmings-Maher to make it 3-3 on 44:21. Power play goal. Seb Mohr's 100th assist for the Slough Jets. A couple of minutes later, impressive hustle from Dylan Holliker saw him win the puck and feed Brandon Miles, who come in, deked inside, then out, before finishing well to give the Jets a 4-3 lead on 46:48. However, when Redmond and Greenhorse sat for boarding and roughing respectively, and were then joined by Ben Ely Newman, it gave the Stars a power play chance, which they duly took as they worked the puck across the offensive zone for Joe Walls to score near side from the left circle and make it 4-4. The Jets had a huge power play chance at the end when Roland Grittans was benched for hooking on 57:26, but Mark Turnbull was standing, nay spinning round on his head to keep them out. Into the overtime period, and Slough truly bossed it, creating chance after chance, but finding no way past Turnbull. And as Roland Grittans broke away unassisted, he broke the hearts of the Jets fans and sent the Stars fans into the stratosphere as he scored the overtime winning goal to make it 5-4 Billingham on 63:19, giving the Stars a 4-trophy haul so far this season and a potential unprecedented Grand Slam, as these two sides will face off at Coventry next weekend after both, of course, winning their respective league titles. As a Southerner, of course, I was cheering on the South, but to get on the ice with the Billingham lads after the game was incredible. The taste of revenge on the tongues of the Slough Jets now, with a week to stew on that result. For the Stars, great celebrations, pure emotion from Jacob Hammond, with the elation of the result and the sheer agony of the injury he sustained. I'm led to believe that it was a hip injury, so wishing Jacob all the best in his recovery. But after that amazing weekend of 6 finals, let's have a look at the Stars of the week. Third star of the week, after winning the Wilkinson Division Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, winning both finals, bagging 2 goals and 3 assists, it's Peterborough Phantoms 2, Nathan Pollard. Second star of the week, having an amazing weekend, 3 goals, 2 assists, the man of the match on Saturday, unfortunately not getting the trophy on Sunday, but it has to be Slough Jets, Ollie Hemmings-Mohr. And the first star of the week, a 50-50 weekend recorded for him, winning Saturday, losing Sunday, but bagging 7 goals and 3 assists over the weekend. It's Telford Tigers, Vladimir Lukas. Well, what a weekend. All done and dusted. 1 game remains at Coventry next weekend for the Jets and the Stars before everyone can enjoy the summer. But for me, that comes now. I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone who had time for a chat over the weekend, either recorded or not. It was just lovely chatting with everybody. So including Nathan Pollard, Stuart Potts, Ryan Watt, Sean Reynolds, Lukas Tassadri, Kieran Rayner, Scott Bailey, Ben Paynter, Lukas Smital, Ross Clark, Jordan Lawday, Christian Mohr, Sebi Mohr, Jack Goodchild, Ben Ely Newman, and Brandon Miles. Brando took a like to my aftershave, so he gets a special mention. Chico Cole, surprising his mum, coming all the way up for the final on Sunday. Alex Cole as well. Danny Wright, the mayor, and anyone I've missed out. Talking hockey with people I've only met because I started doing this is a special feeling, and it always will be. Thank you to everyone for listening this season, for engaging on the socials. That's really important to help us grow. Thank you to all the clubs for being so helpful and generous this season, especially Solent Devils, Slough Jets, Streatham Redhawks, MK Thunder and Romford Buccaneers, who have all hosted me so generously, shared the social media stuff, or they've had me commentating on their live streams, which has been amazing. And also thanks to Invicta Dynamos, Oxford City Stars, Cardiff Fire, Swindon Wildcats, and the Haringey Huskies, who have all extended their offers to host me. Hopefully, I will get there soon. Thanks to England Ice Hockey and the England Ice Hockey events team for having me in Sheffield. And finally, to everyone who was there coming up saying hello, lovely compliments about what we've done and what we've achieved with ZPG. And all the fans that were there, particularly the Chieftains fans, who were in massive numbers, creating the atmosphere despite their club not being there. I hope you've really enjoyed all the content from the Steel City Showdown. Thanks again for being part of the ZPG journey. You may have heard at the very beginning there, when we sort of ran through the intro with the Sports Social Podcast Network, that we didn't mention ZPG Ice Maidens. Regret to inform you that Adam Mackman is stepping away from hockey and doing any sort of media covering it. So the Ice Maidens website and live streaming will finish at the end of this season, and there will be no more ZPG Ice Maidens as well. So anyone that wants to sort of take up that mantle and perhaps host a podcast about the Women's League, if you're involved in it and if you know it and if you watch enough of it, would absolutely love to sort of see if we can keep it going. But a massive heartfelt thank you to Adam Mackman for all of his hard work with ZPG Ice Maidens. He's an absolute legend of a man, and for whatever his reasons of stepping away, I'm sure that it's more than understandable for people that do know what it is. And I just want to wish him all the best for the future, and if he ever does come back, he knows exactly where to come. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.